I'm very happy to welcome you all. This event was organized by Claudia. Can you say hi first?
Hi.
She's been doing a tour with Andrew. They're in Salzburg and Linz and Vienna, and they're doing a lot of amazing stuff. There's still a few events if you want to go to them. Yeah, that's it, I think. No, we're going to listen to the panel discussion. And then there is some food inside. There are a lot of books that you can get. And yeah, we'll see what it is. Welcome everyone and enjoy today.
Yeah. Okay, great. Hi. My name is Welcome to this dialogue. We have some wonderful panelists today, and hopefully this is going to be a space where we can kind of dive in deeper into some, useful points and, sort of views on what the situations are across these wars that we're going to be speaking about across the Sudan, Yemen, Palestine, and the Congo. And I think that the mix-up of these panelists will give us some very intricate details onto what to consider in terms of active participants in continuation of these wars and such, and also perhaps who are being passive in these conflicts. And then the hope is we will also have a conversation about, what can us as a public do to sort of be active in participating into spreading awareness, giving some legalization, and sort of figuring out what is the path forward for these things. But for now, hopefully we can have a little bit of time just to hear each other's stories here on the panel. So I'm just going to start with kind of an introduction so you get to a little bit of an understanding for who they are, what their position is on the subjects as we start. So we start on our right.
Hi, my name is Salomé. I'm here from the organization Fondation Grande. We are an organization that are building a shelter for widows and for orphans, and we are middle in the construction in the Democratic Republic of Congo. My English is like not that good, but I'm going to try to make my point very clear and not talk too much. I have been in Congo 2020, and it has been, perhaps we're going to talk about it, a very, very sad but also hopeful and joyful trip. I went with my family. Congo is a very beautiful, beautiful country. So I just want to make it clear from the beginning that yes, we have been suffering. We have had a genocide for over 30 years. Congo is still a beautiful country, and people are still with a lot of hope. We haven't been talking about Congo for a long time. I'm happy that we have been invited to this panel. We had an event we have every year, a charity gospel show, and we had a panel with the Thema, I'm going to say it in German, Die Butter im Kongo, warum geht es dich und mich etwas an? And we had people there, but it was a struggle to get people even to listen, to care, to understand why it's important to talk about it. So I'm happy to join in, to give a little bit of insight. Also want to be clear from the beginning, I'm not a politician. And this is not what the Fondation Grande is all about politics. I said everybody has their own areas, but we're talking about what is happening because there are victims, and those victims don't have a voice. And we, as a Fondation Grande, we are their voice. We see, we hear their stories, we feel their pain, so we want to be the voice. And this is why we contribute to panels, we are there, we are traveling even across Europe. This is what we did before we got pregnant. Keep pregnant. I have a little baby here, so if you hear a baby crying, please excuse me. If you see just that I'm going somewhere, this is that important for me, so that I just want to let you know that I'm here. We're here, and I'm very, very glad and thankful for this opportunity.
I will need to just disrupt real quick. Irgendjemanden hätte eine Übersetzung brauchen würde von Englisch auf Deutsch. Da werde ich auch übersetzen, aber Übersetzung braucht Übersetzen. Okay, perfect. Dankeschön.
Super, great. And then on to our next panelist.
Yeah, hello everyone. First and foremost, I would just like to say it's an honor to be which I had the pleasure of speaking a lot with her and a lot of the work that she does in the Congo. So first of all, for me, I'm just a writer, online journalist, also a newbie author. I've published my first poetry collection, which you can also find over there, called Congo. All in all, that's just to say, kind of like she said, I'm not an expert, I'm not an activist, but I personally have families who have been affected by the current massacres and, of course, generational trauma, as we all know. So I'm happy to contribute in that regard. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, hello, I will introduce myself in English, but I want later speaking or in Arabic. My name is Ishraga, Mustafa Hamid. I come from Sudan. I have been living in Vienna for a long time, 32 years. Actually, I was young as I came to Vienna. I have my half age in Vienna and half in Sudan. I studied political science, I am a politician, I am a black feminist, and you are also a politician. I am a journalist also because I studied journalism in Sudan, as well in Vienna, and political science. I co-founded the Black women community in Vienna, and my daughter, who is now 22 years, she works there. And she always said to me, Mama, you said that with racism in Australia, it is really a big problem to the tribes. And I said to her, because wir die schwarze Frauen, die erste Generation, haben wir den Weg geebnet. Ohne uns hätte der keine Möglichkeit. Frage bezüglich Diaspora. Ich habe einen Verein mitgegründet. Das war meine Idee, als ich im Sudan war. Mit 7 Jahren habe ich von einer Kolonialkämpferin, heißt Mandi. Und Mandi aber wurde nie in unserer Geschichte im Sudan erwähnt. Vielleicht das wird eine große Frage, wenn ich sage, dass es im Sudan Rassismus gibt. Weil es ist ein Konflikt, ist die Identitätskonflikt, Gott sei Dank, das habe ich nicht im Sudan gehabt, weil ich im Sudan Kommunistin war, jetzt nicht mehr, aber das hat mir viel geholfen, nicht so aufgespalten, bin ich Araberin, bin ich Afrikanerin, ich bin Muslimin, ja, Arabisch ist meine Muttersprache, ich komme aus dem Sudan und das ist eine Geschichte, die wirklich auf mein Bewusstsein geprägt. Ich habe 2 Kinder, sind nicht mehr Kinder. Und bald werde ich Pensionistin und dann habe ich mehr Zeit zu schreiben. Ich habe 10 Bücher veröffentlicht und später kann ich von Mandi und unseren Projekten erzählen.
Hi, my name is Andrew. First of all, a big thank you to the organizers for arranging this event. And it's a huge honor to speak on the platform with the other panelists and with my fellow country person who's moderating our discussion. I'm from South Africa, but my mother was Viennese. She was a Holocaust survivor who lost dozens of her family, mainly in Auschwitz, where I've lectured on genocide prevention. I got involved in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa in my teens, had to leave the country in my early 20s and was allowed to go back when the ANC and the broader liberation movement was unbound. I first worked as a facilitator in our constitutional negotiations that led to our first democratic election in 1994. And in that election, I was elected an MP for the ANC under Mandela, and then fell out rather badly with his successor, Thabo Mbeki, around the fact that he decided to spend $10 billion on weapons that we had no need of and had never used until today, mainly because $350 million of bribes were paid, including to my own political party, the ANC. So my first book, which is the book up there, After the Party, was about my time in the ANC and trying to investigate the arms deals. And through that, I came to investigate, write about and make films about the global arms trade and its impact on our lives and on our world. I wrote a book called The Shadow World Inside the Global Arms Trade, the first edition of which came out in 2011, which was the first book written on the trade since 1979, because this is an incredibly secretive business. Publishers don't like to publish about it, it's very difficult to get hold of the information. Most recently, I've co-edited a book called Monstrous Anger of the Guns, How the Global Arms Trade is Ruining the World and What We Can Do About It, with someone who some of you might have heard of, called Jeremy Corbyn, who I work with a lot in the United Kingdom. And I'm working on a book at the moment called Making a Killing, how the West profits from slaughter in Gaza and Yemen. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation, to learning a great deal.
Right. Grande.
1 second, can we just, is there any spots free so people can?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Sudanese, German. There's definitely a
When
bit of
people come to just tell them to come to the front, so maybe so that, yeah. No one wants to sit now? What about you?
it is. I'll give it to you to sort out.
Right, everyone comes? Fantastic. So, as we've heard, the introduction from one of the panelists, and in preparing for this, you have on the different panelists, I think one of the main questions that I sort of want to put forward and going to kind of spend a lot of time as a sort of basis for delving in deeper into the subject is this question comes from this thought of is there such thing as a war to make the world safe? And in this I pose this question to the panelists, and we'll start perhaps from the left and go this way towards the right. Who profits from this instability? Who profits from this global instability within the region, such as Palestine, Yemen, Congo, and such? Because there has to be perhaps a reason for why it's continuing. And then also on the other side of this, consideration whose silence is deafening within these regions and this ongoing conflict. So I would like to hear from the panelists in this regard. Yeah.
So, who profits is what a guy called Lauréne, who was a former Marine Lieutenant Colonel, and then served as Chief of Staff to Colonel Powell. And he was the most senior military official in the United States, and then when he was Secretary of State. And he said the people who profit are what he describes as the global national security elite, or a tiny elite of military leaders, intelligence leaders, senior politicians, the corporate executives of the world's arms companies, and all of those benefit from them, law firms, financial institutions, consulting firms, etc. And intermediaries, arms dealers, sometimes called brokers or agents, depending on the roles that they play. They're the people who directly benefit, which is why the arms trade is a law unto itself. our governments violate our own arms export control laws. They violate the European common position on arms exports. They violate the international arms treaty. And there are no consequences. They can sell arms to whoever they want. The fact that our governments have been selling arms to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates while they've committed war crimes and violations of international humanitarian law in Yemen for the last 10 years. No consequences. The fact that we can sell as much as a bullet, let alone a component, or a jet fighter or a bomb or a missile to Israel, while it's committing a live screen genocide. This is in violation of our own laws, regional agreements and international treaties. And what we have to understand crucially is that in the so-called West, the bribes in the arms business accounts for 40% of all corruption in world trade. So when Britain pays £6 billion of bribes to Saudi Arabia, to Benjamin Netanyahu, not all of the money goes to the Saudi royal family, to the Israeli ruling elite. Some of it will go back to Britain. So British politicians, their families, and crucially their political parties. And this is both Labour and Conservative, except when the Labour Party was briefly led by Jeremy Corbyn, because he said he would stop selling arms to any undemocratic country, which meant those three countries I mentioned wouldn't receive British arms. So this corrupt trade literally oils the wheels of our political system, and politicians become very rich out of it. So to give you one example, I could give you the example of Helmut Kohl, or Sarkozy, or whoever you want, in whatever country you want. But to give you the most obvious example, Tony Blair, who was responsible for ensuring that British Aerospace, the main British arms company, won a contract that wasn't even shortlisted for in the South African arms deal. Blair went to South Africa 3 times while I was an MP, facilitated bribes to 3 of our cabinet ministers who decided what we were going to buy and from who. Since he's left office, I estimate very conservatively that Blair has personally made in excess of £110 million from the decision to invade Iraq, which has led to the death of almost 1 million people, and from his association with BAE systems. So that's the sort of the direct benefit. But who else benefits and profits is our political system. We have a political system that only serves the interests of this very tiny ruling elite. And obviously the most obvious victims are innocent people in the DRC, in Sudan, in Yemen, in Gaza. And then the next level of victims who are all over the world. Because by spending literally $2.4 trillion a year on warfare, which is the biggest contributor to climate catastrophe, which exacerbates the already extreme inequalities that exist in our society. You're taking all of that money away from the things we should be spending on. So that is a very sort of broad and perhaps overly simplistic answer.
And I think this might tie into what Madame Ishraga could perhaps enlighten about sort of the active participants within the Sudan and also the situation there, and politics, military power, and something region here.
Danke, es ist diese Frage, das ist nicht so einfach zu beantworten. Ich glaube, es ist wichtig, dass es Überblick über diese Komplex im Sudan zu analysieren und zu verstehen. Im Sudan haben wir immer einen Konfliktpreis. Ja, ich bin jetzt 63 Jahre alt. Im Sudan habe ich nur einmal gelebt. Nur einmal. Ich war damals, ich habe die Matura gemacht und ich habe auch bei diese Revolution habe ich mitgeteiligt. Und bis jetzt habe ich ein Foto, damals war ich Ich ist begeistert, so mein Haar war so Auto und auf dem Auto und so Frauenpower. Das war 1985. Das war 1986, das war das erste Mal, dass ich gelernt habe. Seitdem, das heißt Generationen nach den anderen, haben wir keine Möglichkeit, so eine Demokratie zu haben. Sudan war kolonialisiert von Großbritannien. Es ist eigentlich noch kolonialisiert. Es ist noch nicht vorbei, weil, wie du gesagt hast, diese Einmischung, es gibt auf die lokale Ebene und auf die nationale Ebene und internationale Ebene. Auf die lokale Ebene, nationale Ebene werde ich nicht viel sagen, weil ich in verschiedenen Ländern von unseren geflüchteten Sudanesinnen und wenn ich das laut kritisiere, was nicht wirklich wehtut, aber das schädigt unsere Leute dort. Daher werde ich es allgemein, vielleicht private kann ich schon erzählen. Es ist aber für viele von euch, von Ihnen bekannt, wer eine passive Rolle spielt. Nach 30 Jahren haben wir Diktatur. Wir waren die Islamisten, die haben den Macht übernommen. Das war die Armee, aber durch die Islamisten in Sudan. Die eigentlich nach diesen 30 Jahren Diktatur in Sudan haben wir geschafft, endlich eine sehr starke Revolution, und das ist was sehr bekannt in der Welt, dass wir endlich haben wir Demokratie. Ich wohne gegenüber und ich habe 1100 Mal Demonstrationen mitorganisiert in Sudan. Ich habe mit den Frauen, mit den Jugendlichen, das heißt, wir haben eine sehr, sehr starke Sudanis-Diaspora. Leider, das war nicht alles. Nach 30 Jahren haben wir geschafft, die Nachbarländer, auch Äthiopien, Eritrea, die wollten überhaupt, weil das bedroht ihr System. Aber indirekt bedroht auch die internationalen Systeme. Die wollten keine Demokratie in Sudan, dass die Leute einfach, Sudan ein sehr reiches Land. Es ist kein armes Land, sondern verarmt. Und daher ist es zwar wichtig, zum Beispiel für die Emirat, das hast du schon erwähnt, Emirat und Saudi-Arabien, die haben eine große Rolle und spielen sie eine große Rolle für den jetzigen Krieg. Weil nach den 30 Jahren Demokratie, das war, damals haben wir ausgemacht, das ist die Sudanesinnen, die im Ausland diese 30 Jahre waren und die wurden dort, sind qualifiziert, die können dann in den Sudan zurück und die können auch Übergangsregierung mit aufbauen. Ich wurde zweimal als Kulturministerin gewählt, aber ich habe das abgesagt, weil ich habe schon gesehen, wie die Parteien in Sudan gegeneinander kämpfen. Jeder will diese Macht haben. Und meine Meinung, das habe ich oft geschrieben, auch in meinen Artikeln, es ist besser für diese Parteien, weil es fehlt die Demokratie innerhalb dieses Systems. Aber trotzdem, das war Kampf. Und dann gab es die Rapid Support Forces, die Miliz. Aber die Miliz wurde von der Armee gestärkt. Damals haben wir auch unsere Meinung laut gesagt. Das ist Miliz. Bitte, geht nicht. Es gibt in keinem Land in dieser Welt zwei Armeen. Und die kämpfen jetzt gegenseitig. Dann ist es total vernichtet. Es ist kein Flughafen, die Hauptstadt zum Beispiel. Und das ist nicht der erste Krieg. Es wird immer von einer, und das für mich ist es es gibt eurozentristische Blickwinkel, aber bei uns auch gibt es diese Blickwinkel, weil es wird immer gesagt, ja, jetzt haben wir Krieg, weil das in der Hauptstadt, wo die reichen Menschen gibt. Aber es gab schon Kriege davor, es gab Krieg in Oberbergen, es gab Krieg im Blauen Nil und es gibt noch diese Kriege. Aber weil ich habe schon am Anfang gesagt, diese Konflikte, Identitätskonflikte in Sudan, weil in diesen Gebieten sind sehr afrikanisch und die